has been nicked up. The two injured players, Blake Brockermeyer and Chris Valerio, starting at left tackle and right guard. In the backfield, Anthony Thomas having a sensational rookie year. Marty Booker and Des White, the receivers. And the quarterback, Jim Miller, back in action, suffering a hip pointer 2 weeks ago against the 49ers. Did not play last week, but he's back in as a starter as the Bears begin from the 25. And the handoff to Thomas, and he breaks it out to the left side and gets close to the first down beyond the 35-yard line, where Leroy Butler, the strong safety, comes up to make the play. The Packers defense, and that has been the surprising star of this group. John Theory and Jim Flanagan, two former Bears, on the left side. Nate Wayne, Bernardo Harris, and Niall Diggs are the linebackers. And the secondary, Tyrone Williams and Mike McKenzie are the cornerbacks. And Darren Sharper and Leroy Butler are the safeties. The measurement, and the Bears get the first down. Ed Hockley, the referee this afternoon.
And what a great way for Chicago to start out the very first play in order to come out running the football, which is going to be a big key in this ball game, is how well they're able to run the football with Anthony Thomas behind this line. First carry gets 10 yards.
David Terrell is in the game, and two wide receivers to the right. Baxter, the tight end, in motion. Another running play, and this time again going outside is Anthony Thomas for another first down into Packer territory. A gain of 12 for Thomas, who last week gained 96 yards and scored a Bear touchdown.
Well, and they're working to the short side of the field again with Anthony Thomas, and you see Des White here. There's a wide receiver. He gets up the field and makes a block there, which enables Anthony Thomas to get outside. Here's another look. Des White making the block on Tyrone Parrish and being able to make a play.
So a first down on the 48-yard line. Went out of bounds just short of midfield. Quick start for the Bears, and they'll go back to the bread and butter. And Anthony Thomas picking up about 2 yards on the play. He was the second-round pick out of the University of Michigan. And finally, the Bears seem to have a running back here.
Well, not only do they have a running back, but they have a guy that can run the ball effectively when the defense walks up safeties and knows you're going to run the football, and he's still able to get those yards. And you can see the production that he's had there over the last 3 weeks. And one of the problems that the Bears will pose to the Packers is their multiple formations and multiple sets. And we've already seen about 3 different variations of that on this opening series.
On second down, play action for Jim Miller, and the middle screen to Thomas, and Anthony Thomas inside the Packer 40-yard line, and a very crisp and impressive beginning for the Bears offense. That's good for 14 yards.
Well, it's a nice start, and we saw the way they were able to start this ball game running the football. They come back with play action to Anthony Thomas. The Packers do a nice job of taking the receivers away down the field. Jim Miller comes underneath in Anthony Thomas, and John Shoup, the offensive coordinator, talks about the balance between running the football and play action, and what he thinks that does is it creates a conflict of assignment for the defensive players.
First down on the 37 of Green Bay. The blitz is picked up, and Thomas gets the call again, and Thomas dragging Nate Wayne for about 5 yards, and he gets 6 on the play. And the Bears going to rookie Anthony Thomas, and it'll be second down and 4.
Well, you heard about the blitz on the play, and you'll see the safeties come up to the middle right here. If they're going to do that, they have to be able to make tackles, because what happened there is Anthony Thomas breaks contain, and they were very fortunate that that was not a bigger play.
Second down and 4, and here's Thomas off the right side, and this time the Packers finally have an answer as Jim Flanagan, who's in his first year with the Packers after 7 seasons with the Bears, making the tackle.
And we know Jim Flanagan was extremely excited about getting the opportunity to play in this ball game, as you mentioned, Dick, having been with the Chicago Bears, and he feels like he's at home now with the Green Bay Packers, excited to be back here at Soldier Field playing against his former team.
Kabir Baja-Biamila has come in the game, the second leading sack artist in the NFL. There he is. 3rd down and 4. Jim Miller completes the pass to Marty Booker, and Booker close to the first down, and he may have it. And Darren Sharper in on the tackle. It is another Chicago Bear first down. Bears marching against this Green Bay defense, one of the best in the NFL.
Marty Booker, a guy that you probably haven't heard a lot about around the league, but just got off to a great start with the receptions. I really feel that he's a key for this football team. He's the guy that controls everything underneath, and in the running game, he's a guy that will come in and put some big hits on some defensive ends. My only question is, can Marty make it through the game healthy? He plays so physical.
Bears have not had an opening drive touchdown dating back to last year, and Thomas doesn't get much. He is stopped at the 26-yard line, bringing up 2nd down.
Well, you saw again right there, Moose had touched on it a couple plays earlier. They bring in Leroy Butler, trying to create an 8-man front to shut this running game down. The Chicago Bears, they know that if they're going to have any success against this offense, they've got to somehow make them one-dimensional, and that means stopping this running game.
2nd down and 9 now for the Bears on the 25-yard line. Miller again getting time, going underneath, and that pass caught by David Terrell. So Thomas, the 2nd-round pick from Michigan, Terrell pick number 1 from the Wolverines, and he picks up 6.
Well, when he does a pretty good job is Jim Miller. He's starting over here to the left. He wants to go to Marty Booker. Then he comes back as a second read and gets it into David Terrell. A nice progression by Jim Miller. And David Terrell is a guy who's really emerged here in the last couple of weeks. He has a couple nice catches in last week's ball game in order to set up that win. And they're really happy with the progress that he's made.
Damon Shelton, the fullback, in motion to the right. And now they send Booker that way too on 3rd and 3, and on the rollout the pass caught by Marty Booker, and he's out of bounds, but the Bears get another first down in the process.
And that's the role that they like using Marty Booker in. He's more of a possession type receiver. Those of you who follow the Minnesota Vikings, Chris Carter, he's along those lines. He's got big hands, he's got great hands in order to bring the ball in. And plays like that, when they need a sure catch in order to move the chains, he's normally the guy that Jim Miller is going to be looking to.
Coming into the game, tied for 3rd in the NFC with 46 receptions. Bears first down on the Packers 16. And here is Thomas, and Thomas is going to lose a couple of yards on the play. And good pressure put on by the Packers, led by Gilbert Brown, who was slowed this week with a strained quad.
And that's the key to this defensive front, is getting upfield penetration. And talking to Ed Donatel, a system that really hasn't had a guy like Gilbert Brown in it in the past. You know, not that big body. He likes the smaller, quicker guys that can get penetration. But Gilbert's dropped the weight in the offseason, and he's become a very important part of this defensive front.
And what the Bears are doing, not only moving the ball against the pack, keeping that man, Brett Favre, off the field. 2nd down and 13. For the Bears on the Green Bay 19. Miller again will throw quickly, but a little bit high, and Shelton, the fullback, was the intended receiver, and that will bring up 3rd down.
Well, and this is an area of the field where the Chicago Bears have had problems this season. They've not been able to get touchdowns, and they've also had turnovers when they've gotten down in here. And in order for them to compete and beat the Packers in this ball game, they're going to have to be more productive in this particular area. And it looks like when they get down here, they're not sure exactly how they're going to go about attacking them. They don't know if they're going to try to run the football or do some play action and passing, but so far up to this point in the season, nothing has really been effective for them.
3rd down and 13. And an empty backfield, and the pass thrown underneath to Marty Booker, but the tackle made by Leroy Butler. And the Bears, of course, well short of the first down. They learn what Green Bay and Chicago's all about, and Brett Favre handing off to Ahman Green. And Ahman Green with a big run on first down of 17 yards, bringing the Packers out close to the 30-yard line.
And what they've done in the past is they've gotten into the shotgun and tried to run, but Ahman Green is a much better runner when he's in the eye. And that play there, out of the eye, he has more opportunity to cut different directions. This guy, that's a great start for him because he just gets stronger and stronger as this game goes on.
First down for Green Bay. Green with a career-best 169 yards last week. Pressure on Favre, and he rolls out and completes to his tight end, Bubba Franks, and another penalty flag is down. Freeman goes in motion for Favre. Short rollout and the pass. Warwick Coleman knocked it down and nearly picked it off. So a shaky beginning for the Packers offense. Barry Stokes making his first NFL start at left tackle for Chad Clifton. Wall, Flanagan, and the rest up front with Rivera and Tosher. Schrader back in action after suffering the sprained ankle and missing a couple of games. Ahman Green, the running back, and Bubba Franks, the tight end. It'll be second down and 20 from the Packers 16.
And second and long, Dick. They just took out Keith Traylor and Ted Washington to get more speed in that defensive line.
Expecting a pass, and that's what Favre wants to do. Pump fake and a good catch by Franks, and the tight end takes it out to the 26-yard line, still about 10 yards shy of the first down. Let's look at the Bears defense with Daniels, Traylor, Washington, and Robinson. Warwick Coleman and Roosevelt Colvin flank Brian Urlacher, the middle linebacker. R.W. McQuarters and Walt Harris at the corners. Tony Parrish, the strong safety, and Mike Brown, the hero of the last 2 weeks, with those interceptions and overtime return for touchdowns. There he is. Third down and 10. Dorsey Levens into the game for the first time. Out of the shotgun, Favre needing 10 yards. Trying to ad-lib on this one. And will fire it, and the pass, let's see if it's intercepted. It is by Mike Brown. He does it again, not in overtime, but he gives the Bears great field position.
And Dick, that's something that plagued Brett Favre last week against Tampa Bay. You watch this, every receiver on the field was covered. The Chicago Bears did an outstanding job of running with the receivers. You see right here, they're covered. Covered here, covered here. All the receivers are trying, and they're all working, trying to get open as Brett Favre starts running to the outside. He throws another ill-advised pass in the...
But instead, the Bears get the ball back on the 41 of the Packers, leading 3-0. First down, and here is Anthony Thomas, who has rushed down for 28 yards on 8 carries.
Well, you go back and take a look at it, and Brett getting the snap there, and he drops back. There's nowhere to throw the football. The Bears do a great job of covering everybody up. Brett works out, and you're right, Dick, when he went to let it go, I thought he was throwing it out of bounds, but he kept it in the field of play, much like he did last week. And you just can't do that. And a great job by Mike Brown, not only making the catch, but doing a good job of keeping his feet in bounds.
Second down and 9, and once again Shelton, the fullback, in motion to the left, and the pass going to the right for Des White, and White getting inside the 35-yard line, bringing up third and short as we check in with James Brown for an NFL game break. JB.
Hey, Dick, Trump candidate was sensational in relief of Marshall Faulk, but guess what? Faulk is back after missing nearly a month of action, a career-long 71-yard jaunt to pay dirt. The MVP is back in action. Rams up 7-0 over Carolina. Back to Dick, Troy, and Darryl.
I think he was champing at the bit to get back.
Oh, you know that he was.
So Marshall Faulk already making his mark. The third down and short. The pass caught by Des White, and it'll be a first down for the Bears inside the Packer 30. So the Bears, people saying, are they that good? They've won 6 in a row and leading and marching again.
Well, they're being very efficient so far in this ball game. Des White motioning down, does a nice job right here, sitting in the hole and working away from Leroy Butler.
And it all starts with the protection, and Blake Brockemeyer, who had a tough game last week versus Courtney Brown, doing a good job on that pass rusher that the Green Bay Packers have, Kabir Baja-Biamila.
Jim Miller 7 of 8 so far, and a first down for the Bears. and Anthony Thomas, and he'll lose yardage as a host of Packers knock him back, and a loss of a couple. Bernardo Harris leading the way. Nate Wayne also in on the play.
This is a good group of linebackers. I think a lot of talk goes to Chicago with Brian Urlacher and Warwick Holdman and Roosevelt Colvin, but this is a very good group here too. And because this is an attacking defensive front, they also are able to find gaps and get in and make some plays. And I was very impressed with them watching them on film last week versus Tampa Bay and what they were able to do shutting down that running game of the Buccaneers.
And the Bears dominating the early time of possession, and a fake handoff, and a good thing it was a fake. The pass to Terrell and out of bounds. If Miller had handed off to Anthony Thomas, he would have been stuffed for a bigger. Well, it's 3rd and 11, and the Bears are looking for their first conversion of 10 yards or more on 3rd down. And there is a pass to Des White out on the flat, and now make it 0 for 27 as White is tackled at the 30-yard line by Vonnie Holiday, bringing up 4th. Most of his interceptions have come in the first half, handing off to Amon Green, who had a 17-yard run on the first play from scrimmage, picking up 3, and Roosevelt Colvin on the tackle. In the second half of our Fox NFL doubleheader, out on the West Coast, the San Francisco 49ers play the Saints, but many of you will see the Minnesota Vikings go to the city of brotherly love to take on the Eagles. And the folks here in Chicago will see that Vikings-Eagles matchup after this game. 2nd and 9. On the 33, Corey Bradford is in as the 3rd receiver. The handoff to Green, and the Bears knock him back. Very little on the play, a minimal gain, led by the 2 linebackers, Colvin and Urlacher.
Keep this Packers team off the field for the most part.
3rd down and 8 from the 34-yard line. Favre looking left, now trying to find a receiver on the right, gets knocked down at the 34 by Brian Robinson. And the Packers will have to punt. You know, it's amazing. From their 18, Jim Miller again going underneath, completing to David Terrell. And a short gain.
And then that previous play, everybody talked about Allen Rossum returning the punt last week for the touchdown, but here he is working on the outside covering kicks also. So that just goes to show you what a valuable player he is for this Green Bay Packers football team, being able to work in the secondary and some of the nickel and dime packages, but then also covering and returning.
Special teams hadn't done all that well for the Packers until Rossum's return for the score a week ago. 2nd and 7 for Jim Miller, handing off to Anthony Thomas, and he is knocked back. A loss on the play. And Darren Sharper coming up from the secondary to make the tackle, bringing up 3rd and long.
Yeah, Darren Sharper, he's really elevated his game this year in the way that he's been able to come in and start playing. And you see him right there. He came in off the corner and is able to make the tackle. And there was a lot of talk in previous years about him as a football player. Was he going to be the guy? Was he not going to be the guy? And last year he had a breakout year and made the Pro Bowl, and he has continued on that pace this season.
Anthony Thomas is lined up wide right, empty backfield, and Jim Miller in a hurry getting rid of it and completing the pass to Marty Booker for a Bear 1st down at the 35-yard line. A gain of 15 yards for Chicago, with Nate Wayne and Leroy Butler finally making the tackle.
Marty Booker again working inside and underneath. He's the guy that they're going to go to. He's the guy that they will look to in 3rd downs. And right there, that's a nice little mismatch going against Baoju. Marty Booker, a guy that's coming in and off the bench in some of the packages. If you can get him matched up with that nickel back, look for Jim Miller to continue to look for that matchup.
Remember, the Bears don't have Marcus Robinson, out with knee surgery. He was a big receiver for them, and there coming out of the backfield is Anthony Thomas. And Thomas picking up about 4 yards on that play. And right now for an NFL game break. And another boost for the Bears because their opponent's winning percentage almost the same as the Rams of the 3 6-1 teams. Here is Damon Shelton. Fumbles, and the Packers will recover. Damon Shelton fumbles, and Bernardo Harris recovers for the Green Bay. So the Pack on the Bears' 46-yard line. 1st down, 6-0 game. And out of the backfield, David Martin, the tight end, who's been bothered by a toe injury. Second down and 1 for the Packers. Amon Green up the middle, and Green carries his way inside the Bears' 30-yard line. On first down, Favre against the blitz, throws the ball out of bounds. Antonio Freeman field for Green Bay. Second and 10. Favre quickly out to Levens, and Levens knocking McQuarters back about 3 yards. Finally out of bounds at the 28-yard line. Will bring up third down. So rarely used Dorsey Levens in action here in the first quarter.
Yeah, and he's been, he's still not quite 100%. He's had a tough go the last couple of years with injury, but they still want to incorporate him into the game as much as they can. And when they've done it, he's been more of a receiver than he has been a runner. And he's played well when he's gotten his opportunities. But Amon Green, when he got a chance to get into the ball game last year, when Dorsey Levens got hurt, he took advantage of it, and he's been unable to unseat him in that position.
Third and 3. And a fake to Green. Favre going for the end zone, and the pass thrown out of the end zone. Bill Schrader was the deep man, the target
that you would measure your team against. I don't know who that team is that you have to beat in order to declare yourself a good football team.
First down at the 38 for the Bears, and here's Anthony Thomas. Thomas carries it out to the 42-yard line. Be a 3-yard gain for the Bears.
I think the way that this game's going so far is pretty much what these coaches expected, and it's going to be a tough physical ball game, and Mike Sherman, the head coach for the Green Bay Packers, recognized that. And I think for the Chicago Bears right now, based on the previous 2 weeks, they're happy that right now in the second quarter they're carrying a 6-3 lead.
Second and 7 at the 41. Thomas is tackled for maybe a yard, and talking with Mike Sherman yesterday, he said in looking at the Bears and evaluating them, he says, I thought that they had a pretty solid team last year. The one thing they were lacking was the quarterback, and they seem to have settled that position. And
it's been not only one guy, but both guys. When Jim Miller was injured early, Shane Matthews stepped in, and vice versa. So not only are they getting it out of the starter, but also the guy who's coming in off the bench.
Yeah, and I think Cade McNown, his presence here was really a downer for this football team, and just his exit has really lifted the spirits of this football team, and these quarterbacks have been able to excel.
James Allen is in the game at running back, and the blitz and the pass nearly intercepted by Mike McKenzie with one catch for the Packers. They're on the 13-yard line, and play action for Brett Favre. He drills it to Schrader, complete and caught out of bounds at the 30-yard line. 162nd time they played. Amon Green bouncing to the outside. First down, still on his feet, and Green finally getting to the 45-yard line of the Bears.
After first hit of any player in the NFL.
Yeah, and how about Philip Daniels for the Bears making the tackle downfield as a defensive lineman?
Here's Green again with Henderson blocking up front, and he cuts upfield. And Green getting about 2 yards or 3 on,
as he did last week against Tampa Bay.
Second down and 8 from the 44-yard line. Protection solid for Favre, and the pass caught inside the 30, and another first down. That was Antonio Freeman. 16-yard gain and a first down for the Packers on the Bear 29. Favre will look to throw again and try to get it to the fullback, William Henderson, out of the backfield. And now a little extra exercise by Mike Brown. 5 push-ups? He could do more than that.
Based on his play the last couple of weeks, I think he could do a lot more than that. Yeah, the one thing you look at, he's got a straight back. He's getting the chest down. I mean, you couldn't coach that any better, could you, Moose?
Well, I'm going to conserve my energy. For me out on the football field, I might need that little burst right there in the end of the game.
Here's Dorsey Levens in the game and running back, and Mike Brown drives him out of bounds. Urlacher and Brown Two key defensive stalwarts for the Bears limit Levens to a gain of only 1.
Well, the one thing is you have a hard time running laterally against these guys, and that's why Green Bay talked about wanting to run inside the tackles. When you've got Brian Urlacher coming off the edge untouched along with Mike Brown, you're not going to get very far. They do a nice job of stopping them.
So a big third down. Third down and 9. Favre getting time. Antonio Freeman makes the reception and gets the first to the 15-yard line. Mike Green on the tackle.
A little bit on the ground.
First down on the 15 of the Bears. Quarters follows Freeman. The handoff to Amon Green. And wrestling the ball away. Fumble, and the Bears get it back. Keith Traylor might have been in there, and Ted Washington recovers, but it was Traylor who knocked the ball out of the hands of Amon Green, and the second Packer turnover when it looked as if they were going in to get points.
Well, we talked about it a little bit earlier in the game. This is something that plagued him at Seattle. He had a fumble last week against Tampa Bay. He has another one here in a very critical situation, and that's something that he's got to have to address. If he's got all the tools in the world and all the skills, the sky's the limit for this kid. But you cannot lay the ball on the ground. There's nothing that draws the ire more for a head football coach than a running back that can't hang on to it, and he's going to have to continue to work on that.
First down, the Bears on their 14-yard line. The handoff to Anthony Thomas, and Thomas picking up about 3 yards as we send it down to Pam Oliver. Hi, Pam.
Hey, Dick. The Bears defensive coordinator, Greg Blosch, figured that the one thing that would be key in this game is the turnovers. Blosch said that after going back and looking at tape from the last couple of years, he saw 4 or 5 missed opportunities in each of those games for the Bears to create some turnovers. So far, they have 2 turnovers created for Green Bay so far. I'm sure they want to try to keep that going today. Back to you.
All right, Pam, thank you very much. And we told you the Bears don't fumble it much. Neither do the Packers. That was only their 4th of the season. 2nd and 7. Jim Miller handing off to the rookie Anthony Thomas. And Thomas brings it out to the 22-yard line. It'll be third down and short with Wayne and Harris making the play for the Pack.
Shows you the confidence that this team has in running the football. They're just coming in with their 2 tight end package, and they know that Green Bay is going to drop down Leroy Butler and Darren Sharper into the mix to create those 8-man fronts. But Anthony Thomas gives them the ability to run the ball into fronts that they haven't been able to in the past because he makes people miss or he runs people over.
He's been quiet, relatively quiet, since that first series. 3rd and 3, and here's Thomas, and he's still quiet, and a big play by Darren Sharper.
He's been able to watch over the years, the Bart Starrs, Mike Ditka coaching on the sidelines, and all those great people that have been a part of this great rivalry.
Amon Green slips by one defender and ultimately has maybe a yard on the play as we've 2nd and 9 for the Packers on their 47. They have 1 timeout remaining. Bart getting enough time, going outside to David Martin, and the rookie from Tennessee gets into Bear territory. 3rd and 5 for the Packers, and Brett Favre again going out wide right to David Martin, and Martin, let's see, they spotted, he did not get out of bounds, and the spot is going to be close as far as a first down is
in Miami, and here he is starting today for the Green Bay Packers.
Scotland and NFL Europe, where you got your start, Troy. 1st and 10 at the 44-yard line, and the pass out to Amon Green does not get out of bounds and picks up 3 yards on the play. Urlacher on the coverage.
You know, and this is where I think Brett Favre is extremely dangerous. He's got a real good grasp of what you have to do within a 2-minute offense. You see, he doesn't get rattled. He doesn't start rushing things. He's willing to come underneath and take the open guys. And he realizes that in this situation, you have more time than what a lot of people think.
On 2nd down and 7, back to midfield goes Favre, looking to pick and choose. He has Schrader in the end zone. Schrader, no sign, touchdown. The officials had to check to make sure that Schrader had both feet in bounds. Style and Jim Miller, right? James Allen in the backfield out of the shotgun. Miller fires toward the sideline, completes it to Des White, and a first down into Green Bay territory.
Another one of those things that just drives you crazy as a coach.
Bears have 3 wide receivers. And the pass on a wide receiver screen was Marty Booker cutting toward the line and could not hold on. John Theory, the former Bear #1 draft pick, now with the Packers, really jarring the ball away.
Yeah, and John Theory does a nice job in those situations. He'll run some of these zone blitzes and he'll drop out, and he's obviously not in a position to cover people. He's just occupying some space, but that space that he was in right there was the same space that Marty Booker was trying to get into, and I think Marty heard his footsteps.
Back to the shotgun goes Miller on 2nd and 10. Again going underneath to James Allen, and Allen dives forward for a few extra yards but doesn't get out of bounds. The clock is running, and the Bears have 3 timeouts remaining, and they might as well go to the bank with one of them, and they do with 19 showing. Bears with considerable shifting, line up with trips to the right. The pitch goes to Leon Johnson, who completes the pass to Booker, and a first down, stopping the clock out of bounds at the 23-yard line. So a bit of trickery. Leon Johnson firing to Marty Booker for a gain of 18.
Well, it's very well done, and Leon Johnson coming out here, and the way that he's able to set up, you see Marty Booker right here, and Leon Johnson throws him a strike. You don't see too many running backs with that kind of arm put it. There was no hesitation and no indecision. Look at that right there. There's a lot of quarterbacks that envy that pass.
Bears on the Packer 24 with 15 seconds remaining in the half. Going for it to Des White. Tipped away, and a terrific defensive play by Mike McKenzie.
Jim Miller thought that they could get a go route on Mike McKenzie. That was one of the things that they were going to take a shot at when they had an opportunity. And right there, Des White, he is their downfield guy, and this is just a simple release off the line on a go route. And I like that call right there for Jim Miller. It's something he talked to us about and something they're doing.
Yeah, and it was a nice play by Mike McKenzie. Jim Miller was working on this route before the game today, and they were working on getting it to the corner. Right there, Jim was not able to make the throw that he'd been practicing on in pregame. Had he been able to do that, he might have been able to give him a shot for a touchdown.
10 seconds left. Ball at the 24, and out of the backfield is James Allen, and Allen will charge into Tyrone Williams, out of bounds, stopping the clock with 4 seconds to go. A decision now for Dick Duran. You either go quickly to the end zone or go for the 3, and they're going to go for the 3.
Passes, and then every now and then they're going to take the shot up the field.
There's the handoff to Ahman Green, and Green running right at Walt Harris, but not before. Green with a huge gain of 14 yards. 1st and 10 at the 42 of the Packers. Favre is looking deep. And going deep, overthrowing Bill Schrader, and Walt Harris on the cover.
Realizing what it's done statistically, it's been a big impact not having him in the game.
2nd and 10. Pass to William Henderson, the fullback. And a gain of maybe 1.5 yards with Mike Green coming up to make the tackle. And here comes Darren Sharper in, and they pick it up, and the pass, and it was off the foot of Mike McKenzie. It looked like McKenzie was screened, otherwise he would have had an interception on that pass that was, I believe, headed for the tight end Fred Baxter.
He was trying to get it into Fred Baxter, and as you said, Dick, Mike McKenzie was in position there to make the interception. In fact, it looked like it hit him in the, there it is right there. Had a chance to maybe make a play if he had seen it, but he was blocked and was unable to make the catch.
But they picked up Darren Sharper nicely. 2nd down and 10. 4 wide receivers. And Anthony Thomas diving forward for a couple of yards. Well, Pam Oliver said that Dick Geron thought that was not a conservative offense. Let's look at what Jim Miller did passing-wise by distance.
Yeah, if you just look at what they did here, 13 of Jim Miller's 15 completions were for 10 yards or less, and they didn't take any shots over 30 yards. And I really believe that in order for Chicago to win this ball game today, that at some point here in the second half, they have got to make a play down the field to create a big play and put themselves in a position to score.
I heard you say that in the first game against the Ravens when they had a shot to win, and they didn't do that then. 3rd and 10 at the 19. Miller's pass, and it's caught by Des White. So White makes the catch right in front of Tyrone Phillips, and the 12-yard pickup gives the Bears a first down.
Here's the problem that John Theory poses. He's going to be coming right through here. Biamila will come underneath him. A nice stunt right there, gets him free, but Jim Miller stands in the pocket and delivers the football. You'll see right here, the little twist is kind of a pick. John Theory's not even trying to get upfield. What he's doing is trying to pick that tackle to free up Kabir to get to the quarterback.
A really nice job by Jim Miller hanging in the pocket right there with the guy barreling down right on him.
There's White, 5 catches for 35 yards. And here is Miller looking left, throwing left on the slant, and the pass jarred loose. David Terrell hit by Darren Sharper.
But that was standing. When he gets an opportunity to make a catch, he's got to realize there's a lot of bodies in there and he's going to get hit.
On 2nd and 10, and there is the fade downfield, and the pass intended for Dwayne Bates, who's into the game for the first time. Mike McKenzie on the coverage, bringing up 3rd and 10. Field for Chicago. Miller, Baxter, incomplete as the hit put on by Todd McBride, number 27, and it forces a punting situation. Surgery last year, so Shane Matthews started that game. Bears have won 6 straight. 1st and 10, however, for Brett Favre and the Packers, and the pass thrown underneath, actually, Ted Washington. He's big enough to flag us down. Let's see if we have an ineligible receiver down.
Too many times.
Rivera he was covering Rivera. 2nd down and 10. And here is Schrader on the run with the catch, and pushed out of bounds by R.W. McQuarters, a yard short of midfield. So ankle. Packers on their 49, 1st down. Play fake. Favre. He's got him again. Schrader with the catch, and a 1st down to the 31, covered by Walt Harris. The Packers 1st and 10 on the Chicago 32. Handoff is to Ahman Green off the left side, and Green picking up 2 yards with Brian Urlacher on the tackle. Game is here today on the field at Soldier Field. 2nd down and 8. Here's the fake and the pass, and it is caught by the tight end Bubba Franks. Good for close to 9 yards. Mike Brown on the. And they fake the handoff to Green. Favre looking the other way down the field, and it's caught by Henderson. And the Packer fullback wide open at the 10-yard line.
Making plays, which he's known to do.
1st and goal at the 9. Maybe no one does it any better. This may be another one. Here's Favre drilling it, and the pass is incomplete. And it was intended for Freeman, and McQuarters on the coverage. 2nd and goal at the 9. Out of the shotgun this time. Favre rolling out to his left, and he drills it. Touchdown to Antonio Freeman.
Downfield.
He's still talking to him. 1st down, Bears at their 40. Handoff is to Anthony Thomas. Thomas for 2 yards. Butler on the tackle. Thomas with a very successful first series today for the Chicago Bears, but the Packers have kept him bottled up since.
The way that they started out on that opening drive, everything looked very positive for Chicago, but they have not executed to that level since that part of the football game. And this is your guy. You got to get him involved, whether you're handing it to him or throwing it to him.
2 tight ends on 2nd down, and the pass up the middle to Thomas, and Thomas breaks out finally, and gets a 20-yard gain with a pass and run into Packer territory at the 37.
Yeah, and what they were doing in the secondary, Green Bay Packers, is they were in a rolled coverage, which opened up the middle of the field there, and you got Anthony Thomas just working over the middle. Got Anthony Thomas right here. He's going to come work over the middle of the ball. They get him the ball.
Miller with only 120 yards, looking to add to that here, and his pass thrown short to Marty Booker, and that will bring up second down. And the pass batted down, and that was John Theory who came in and batted down the pass to Marty Booker. So Theory with a little performance against his old team here.
They had a lot of trouble last week in the same situation with a lot of batted balls. They had 8 knockdown last week, and if you're going to be a football team that's going to throw short and throw on rhythm, when these guys can't get to you to get a sack, they're going to stop, they're going to elevate, they're going to close down the passing lanes, and that's one of the things that Chicago could help themselves with by stretching the field vertically and throwing the ball down the field more.
Yeah, and the only other way is if you get the left tackle, Blake Brockermeyer, to try to go out and cut him.
James Allen going in motion to the left on 3rd down and 5. Jim Miller's pass, and let's see if it's caught on the deflection. It is. It is by Fred Baxter, the tight end. The ball bounced in the air, and Baxter caught it.
Jim Miller had Fred Baxter wide open, and he just pulled him one. It was like a baseball pitcher pulling a pitch, and Fred Baxter is able to slide in there and make one outstanding catch on the ball right there. Big play at a big point in the game.
And no challenge by the Packers. If they snap the ball, they can't do it. They don't appear that they will. And here is the handoff to Anthony Thomas. Thomas has not been able to run. He caught a pass for 20 yards, but has not been able to move against the center of that Packer line. And it'll be 2nd down and 9. Jim Miller averaging under 5 yards per pass attempt.
Yeah, and that's not, you know, when you talk about Jim Miller, he's the guy over Shane Matthews who's supposed to be getting the ball down the field, but he's not been able to do that today, and they faced a lot of man-to-man coverage in the secondary.
2nd and 8. Miller and trying to go to Baxter, and the ball knocked away by Niall Diggs. And Baxter claimed that he was pushed off by Diggs. No flag on the play, so it'll be 3rd down.
I actually think it was a pretty good play there by Niall Diggs. You see him, number 59, engaged with Fred Baxter. I thought it was a pretty nice play on his part. And, you know, you talk about it's another look, and to me it's a good play, but you talk about Jim Miller, and he's missed the last 2 ball games, and this is his first game back, and he's coming off of a hip pointer. In fact, it was bothering him enough before the game that he actually took some injections in order to loosen that thing up. And you wonder if that's affecting him, because he doesn't appear to be real comfortable in the pocket today.
He's 3 for 10 here in the 3rd quarter. Out of the shotgun, loses the ball, and recovers it. Well, that's an understatement. Listening. 1st and 10 at the 35. And the handoff to Ahman Green, who stumbles and doesn't get much. We showed you before them for the Packers. It's a 5-point game. Brett Favre rolling out, looking for a receiver, going deeper. Antonio Freeman, and the pass is out of bounds. Double coverage by McQuarters and Mike Brown. Number 82 is lined up as a wide receiver on 3rd and 11 out of the shotgun. Pressure coming up, and Favre overthrows Freeman, and that'll bring up 4th down.
Teammates to see who won the bragging rights in that one.
1st down at the 23. Jim Miller on the rollout, and Miller going up top for Des White, and White loses the battle that time. Mike McKenzie knocks the ball away. 2nd down and 10 for the Bears on their 23. Jim Miller up the middle, and the pass to John Davis, the tight end, is complete, and that will bring up 3rd and about 5. Leroy Butler on the tackle. Well, Dick Duran, of course, understands what the game is all about. He says you have to win. You don't worry about the job. And Jerry Angelo says, I just want to have a coach that I think can carry us to the next level and a coach that I can work with as a partner.
Well, I know what they've been able to do this year. It's going to be awfully hard if they continue along this path for Angelo to get rid of him. And the players really like Dick Duran and the consistency that he brings as the head coach.
You're right, and I agree with you. Tilt in motion. 3rd down and 4. And Miller completes to Booker on the slant. 1st down Bears to their 41-yard line. Sharper makes the play, but a gain of 12 for the Bears.
I think those are the things that you want to do is you want to get the ball into their hands moving up the field. You got Marty Booker there pushing up, and he's able to get up inside and catch the football running north and south. And so many times what we've seen of them making catches, they've not been heading up the field. On that particular play he was, and he was able to get a nice gain.
Under a minute and a half remaining in the 3rd quarter. Here's Anthony Thomas. Anthony Thomas getting close to the 1st down. And finally, Tyrone Williams and Darren Sharper on the tackle. What a strong burst by Thomas, who's a big back.
And for a big guy, he's able to find some running lanes in those tight situations between the tackles. He's got nice patience. He doesn't rush the play. He lets the blocks develop. And then when he sees the opening, he explodes through it. He's a big guy once he gets into that secondary.
Just shy of the 1st down. Bears at midfield, needing a yard. 2nd down. Thomas, and he is not going to get it. They have lost a half a yard on the play. So it's 3rd down and 1 in midfield. And the end around to Marty Booker. And they're going to trap him for the loss. Marty Booker on the end around, and Darren Sharper. 1st and 10 at the 19-yard line, and play action. Favre over the middle to Amon Green, and Green with a 1st down close to the 35-yard line. Well, I don't know if we're going to have another overtime game, guys, but when I see 5 as the margin of points, things could change. Right now the odds are against that.
Yeah, you don't expect something like that to happen, but I think the one thing that we've learned from the Chicago Bears over the last 2 weeks is that you can almost expect the unexpected.
Right.
You know, when you talked with Coach Duran, he talked about, you don't know what comes first, the ability to win a football game, to build the confidence, but then they've also gone beyond that. They've won games from coming from behind, and they've won games where they've played poorly. So this is a team that's gained quite a bit of confidence the last 2 weeks.
And 1st down, and the give to Amon Green. So the Bears giveth, and then they taketh away as far as Green is concerned. A loss of 6 with Traylor making the play.
Well, you got another one of the big guys right here, Keith Traylor. He works up the field, gets inside of Flanagan. That's a big body coming after Amon Green.
Big acquisition, Traylor from Denver, Ted Washington from Buffalo.
You know what's amazing is Keith Traylor started out with the Packers in '93 as a 260-pound linebacker. I never thought I'd heard JB give credibility to Jimmy Kimmel.
Oh, that's a first. Notice the Bears have no penalties today, and the inside handoff to Amon Green. Green tackled by Brian Urlacher. The Packers are still about 13 or 14 yards away from 1st down. Here comes the blitz from the secondary. It's picked up, and Favre going to Freeman. Antonio Freeman with the catch to the Bear 40-yard line. Holdman downfield makes the tackle, and Favre has an answer for the blitz, hitting Freeman for 31 yards. Favre to Freeman. They hooked up for the 55th time for a touchdown earlier. Here is Amon Green off the right side and picking up 2 yards on the play.
Antonio Freeman open.
Bill Schrader with his 3rd 100-yard gain, and this is a flip out to Henderson. William Henderson down the sideline is knocked out of bounds inside the Bear 15 by Tony Packer, who faced the Packer 1st and 10 on the 14 of Chicago. And the handoff to Amon Green off the left side, and a loss of 1, and Brian Urlacher, the middle linebacker, on the hit.
Yeah, and you take a look and you can just see the different receivers that they've been able to distribute the ball to, the wide receivers with 8 receptions and tight ends and running backs. And that's really something that Tom Rosley, the offensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers, has done a nice job. Obviously, Brett Favre, the guy making those throws, but they like to implement all of their players, and they do a great job of it.
8th play of the drive coming, and Mike Brown being tended to appears to be shaken up on the bench for Chicago. 2nd down and 9, and here is Favre. And Favre on the crossing pattern hits Schrader, and Schrader loses the ball, and now the ruling is it's an incomplete. One official said incomplete, and the other official said down by contact. 3rd down and 9. Fake handoff to Levens, and the pass intended for Freeman, and it was Brian Urlacher who gave Freeman a shot.
That's the strength of his game, is the speed that he possesses from that middle linebacker spot, able to cover so much ground from sideline.
But trailing by 8. 1st down for Chicago on the 21-yard line. 2 tight ends, and the handoff to Anthony Thomas. Not much there.
Well, the reason there's not a lot there is because the Bears are really squeezing down their formation. They've got 2 tight ends in, but the wide receiver who's on the field, his splits are kind of tight also. So what you're doing, you're bringing everybody into play on the defensive side of the ball. They've got about 9 guys within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage and out to the tight end box.
They're packing a lot of bodies in a short space, and the one thing that they've not been able to do, which they've been able to do in the previous game, is get Anthony Thomas untracked.
2nd and 10 at the 21-yard line. Here's Miller getting pressure, and the pass, and it is ruled incomplete. He was out of bounds, Des White was. Did not have both feet in.
You take a look at it, and here's Miller working back. They're going to run the boot, going back out to his right side, and he gets pressure there by Vonnie Holliday, but he hangs in and he makes a pretty good throw. You got Des White along the sideline, and it looked like he's got to be able to make that catch and keep his feet in bounds.
Well, Jim Miller has not been sacked, but the Green Bay Packers have been able to put some pressure on him today. 3rd and 10 at the 21-yard line. James Allen is the setback. Miller will go out to Baxter, the tight end, and he won't get close. Sharper and Wayne, and right now for the football game. And the Packers get the ball on their own 45-yard line as a result, and they hand off to Ahman Green, who gets close to midfield. So 2nd and 6 at the 49. Handoff, Green. Green fighting his way for the 1st down, close to the 40 of the Bears, before Warwick Holdman making the play.
And the big thing they're doing right now is they're just moving bodies. They're in control of the game. You're going to see the safety come in right here at the top, but watch all the guys. William Henderson, Ted Washington's taken up. They're just clearing lanes for Ahman Green. This is a great job by this offensive line of the Packers. They are very athletic. They're very tough. And right now, what we talked about with Ahman Green, this is where he is at his best, helping a team run out of clock late in the football game.
87 yards on 17 carries for Ahman Green. 1st and 10, and another handoff to Green. Bounces off the defender and gets about 6 yards on the play to the Bears 30.
And when you know a team's going to run the football, that's when a great defensive football team will find a way to stop it.
2nd down as Dorsey Levens into the game. Will be stopped a couple of yards short of the 1st down by Brian Robinson.
It's a big 3rd down right here, Dick.
3rd and 3, Dorsey Levens into the game for the Packers. Brett Favre gets hit as he lets go of it, and the pass is bobbled and knocked away. And it was Ahman Green, the intended receiver, and Warwick Holdman on terrific coverage downfield. By Scott Ackerson, directed by Bob Levy. 1st and 10 at the 20-yard line. And Jim Miller back to throw, and up the middle, here is Booker. And the Bears get a big gain out of it on 1st down. Marty Booker with a 25-yard gain. don't ever leave Soldier Field again.
And nobody is left today, but they've been running this route all day long. They just have been unable to get anything with it. Marty Booker, but they got Mike McKenzie working the wrong direction, allowed Marty Booker to get underneath him, and then some blocking up the field allowed him to get more yards.
7 catches, 78 yards for Booker, who went in, one of the leading receivers in the conference, and hitting the line, Anthony Thomas, for a gain of 1.
They've not been able to incorporate their play action passes like they would like to.
Bears have come alive in the 4th quarter. They have been a dominant team at 2nd down and 8. Jim Miller going underneath, completing to Anthony Thomas. And Thomas short of midfield. Well, Troy, this is the first time you've been a witness to this great Bear-Packer rivalry, seeing the fans come in, all the hoopla. What's your thoughts about it?
Well, and we had an opportunity to be here since Friday, and you know, you get a chance to really experience just running into all the various Chicago fans, obviously being here in Chicago, but then also, surprisingly, how many Packer fans packed into this place today and the seats that they have. And you know, what a great rivalry. And we've been a part of some great ones with the Cowboys and Redskins, but this one's as good as any.
3rd down and 5. And there is Miller, completes it to Des White. And a 1st down at the 44. Moose, Packers and Bears, living up to what they thought it would be.
And to be able to be at the game where there's so much riding on the outcome of it, you know, the first time, only the 3rd time since 1966 where both teams coming in with a winning record, playing for first place. I think it adds just that much more to it. It's something special no matter what the circumstances, but with everything at stake that there is out there today, it becomes even that much more.
And nothing like a Bears game at Soldier Field.
Absolutely nothing like a Packers-Bears game here at Soldier Field.
Not the same as anywhere else. 1st and 10 at the 44, and the pass underneath to Anthony Thomas. And the clock becoming a factor as we're winding down to the 2-minute warning to win in overtime. First NFL team to win back-to-back in OT. 2nd and 7 at the 41. 2 minutes. Jim Miller. And the pass incomplete, intended for Des White, and Mike McKenzie defending against White. Touchdown. Empty backfield, 3rd and 7 at the 41. High snap, bobbled, recovered by Miller, and the pass is knocked down, intended for Baxter, and the flag comes clean. Bao Ju, the rookie from Penn State, covering the tight end, and a penalty marker is.
Now they got the 1st down.
1:49 on the clock on the 31 of the Packers. Booker in motion. Allen is the running back, and they go to Des White, who is dragged down after a gain of about 5 yards. Harrison Sharper on the stop. Bears in the hurry-up. That's where Shane Matthews has excelled the last couple of weeks. And there's the pass out incomplete. And that was intended for Terrell. 3rd down and 6. And, of course, 2-down territory for the Bears. They are on the 27. And Jim Miller with a pump fake. And the pass is caught by David Terrell. And again, they are short of the 1st down. And they're going to have to go for it on 4th down with the clock stopping now with 1:17. The Bears have a 4th down and 3, trailing the Packers by 8 points with 1:17 to go. Do they have another miracle up their sleeve? This is 4th down. Jim Miller, and Miller completes the pass to Marty Booker in a 1st down. They've got it. A 1st down to Marty Booker to keep things going for the Bears, who need a touchdown and a 2-point conversion.
They got the 1st down, and now they need to get something up the field vertically, because there's not going to be enough time if they keep throwing underneath.
Miller handing off to James Allen, and Allen getting to the 15-yard line. The Bears have 1 timeout left, and they are not using it here. They need the touchdown and a 2-point conversion to tie, and now they stop the clock. It'll be 3rd down and 4 for the Bears. Again, they have 2 downs to try to get the yardage. And there is Miller, and Miller loses it, and it's picked up by the Bears. So it'll be 4th down
And there's your pressure from Santana Dotson right up the middle. He beats Chris Valerio right away and gets in. Boy, that's very close to being a fumble. It looked like Jim Miller was trying to avoid it by sidestepping and just raising his arm, but it looks like they called that he was in motion of releasing the ball.
Valerio would have recovered it had it been a fumble. And now, again, Troy, it's 4th down.
Yeah, right back where we were on the previous 4th down. It all comes down to this play.
8-point lead, pressure on Miller, and Miller pass behind Allen, and the Packers will take over on downs. And the miracle of the midway, which extended to 2 weeks.
Conservative.
Play's over.
And that should be the last play of the game. So the Green Bay Packers, being the first NFC Central team to win a road game in the division now, have moved into a tie for first place with the Chicago Bears at 6-2. The Bears' 6-game winning streak comes to an end, and Brett Favre continues the magic, now 9-1 at Soldier Field, and the Packers have won 8 straight here. And Jim Miller and the Bears on the short end of a 20-12 score. We'll be back